Hey, how y'all doing? Back with Coco Blaylock with another episode of Chop It Up with Coco. I want to say I hope everybody healthy and safe with the coronavirus and everything like that, man. Let's stay in and let's stay healthy, man. I would hate to hear about somebody I knew or anybody for that matter being affected by this stupid, silly coronavirus. Last we talked on Chop It Up. We were talking. I ended it with something that was a little, I wouldn't say personal, but just a little emotional is a perfect word to say. Talked about a game that I played in as a sophomore, and I thought that a few folks would have wrapped their arms around me, embraced me, and make sure I was okay. But that's life. And I always say this all the time that God don't give us nothing we can't handle. I handled it. I became a stronger person from it, and we move on. So with that being said, last I left off, I was talking about a football game that I was playing as a sophomore on the varsity in Zion Benton. And I had a touchdown called on me and had a big old picture on my locker when I got to school that Monday. And it said touchdown. I already felt like crap for the simple fact that I felt like I let my team down, the school down, the whole nine. But I had insult to that wound, man. I had that on my locker, man. And for the next few weeks, folks looked at me sideways over a football game. But again, you live and you learn. With that being said, the next transition for me gonna probably be the toughest. It's what pushed me to Kenosha, Wisconsin. Ended up at Bradford High School. When that play happened, I told you on my last episode, it was what really pushed me. My dad had a lot to do with it. My brother, uncles, family, all family and friends had a lot to do with pushing me, motivating me, and I was self-motivated as well. But that one play, it had a lot to do with that because I kept thinking that back in my mind, and I didn't want that to happen again. So with that being said, after that play happened, a couple weeks after school, my father passed away. Rest his soul. So the next thing for me was to relocate with my mother who lived in Kenosha. So after that game and the friends, the next thing that hit me, it just came like a domino, like what's next, was the death of my father, which was really, really tough for me because we were so close. And if anybody knew my father, I knew my father. So I spent the most time with him. So that was tough for me. So moving on from that, the next closest person to me at that time was my brother Mike. And that's why I started off my Little League career talking about those two. My dad, James Jr. Rambo, and Mike Blaylock. So when my father passed away, beginning of March, my brother vowed to take my custody and be my guardian. My brother Mike, my big brother who I looked up to dearly. So I remember that being a plan. We were all crushed by the death of my father, but that was the next plan for my brother to take my custody. 2 weeks later, my brother Mike passed away in a car accident, and that really took it out of me. And to this day, he died in a car accident 2 weeks after my father passed away. At that time, I was at my lowest. I felt like God had taken the two most important people to me at that time, and I didn't understand why. God don't make mistakes. I forgave him, but for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months, man, I was lost. I didn't have no faith. I didn't believe in God because as a 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, man, I couldn't understand what had just happened to me. With that happening with my friends, with my dad passing away, with my brother going 2 weeks later, that car accident still has me wondering. That car accident just don't sit right in my stomach. I'll remember that like it was yesterday. I want to talk like a little tiny bit about what happened that night. I remember the day clearly. It was March 16th, 1992. My brother was hanging out with a friend, and they partied. They came back to the apartment. I was living in Zion at the time. And it was late. I want to say about 12 o'clock, 11 or 12 o'clock at night after they had went out partying. I had a friend with me, real close friend to me at that time. And what I couldn't understand at this time is, you know, two young men. I understand they didn't go out and party and things like that because we didn't have curfews and things like that. What don't sit in my stomach is how it happened. And when my brother left the second time that apartment that night, I knew something was wrong. Let me tell you what I'm talking about. We lived on the second level of the apartments. And I remember him coming home with a friend. And I remember him leaving. In my mind, I can't think of why are they going back out again. Like, what's the purpose of them going to go party some more? You know what I mean? But again, that's not my business. So I remember, for whatever strange reason, I remember looking out the apartment window from the top and watching him walk away. And I just remember him just looking back at me, looking up at the window. That memory I'll never forget. It's been around forever. It's been a long time, but I remember him walking to the car with the friend and just kept looking back up at me. Sure enough, man, it just felt wrong. Something was weird and wrong about it. I remember it about maybe 5 or 6 or 7 in the a.m. I really didn't sleep much. Just my stomach felt wrong. Everything about that was just wrong. And one of those the guys that come in a little fire car when something's wrong, when somebody's been killed or somebody's been hurt. I just remember that car pulling up and me being up, and I saw that car pull up in front of my apartment at that time. I was with a friend of mine who I was real close with at that time, and I remember the guy coming up, and he couldn't tell me or the person I was with what had happened because we were kids, but it was asking for my parents. He couldn't tell us, but I figured it out because I had seen that before. But when he left and walked away, man, everything shattered for me. And all them years later, the way it happened still ain't set well in my stomach. With that being said, that time in my life, I had hit the worst. There's nothing else in my life that could have been worse than that. The friends who you thought were your friends did what they did. A couple weeks later, your father died. 2 weeks later, your brother died. So I want to end talking about that. I don't really want to tap into that too much. But I want to talk about the positive things after that. So when I showed up to Bradford, which is in Kenosha, Wisconsin, man, I want to thank those folks, man, from the bottom of my heart, because they rebirthed me. They remolded me. They lifted me up, man, because I ain't have no lift. I ain't have no drive. I ain't have no nothing. I was lost. And so no faith with God. Didn't believe in God. No school, no nothing, no eating, just nothing. Nothing. But when I got to Bradford, man, I want to thank everybody in Kenosha that was a part of this, man. And you know who you are. It was a lot of people. A lot of people love Mike. My brother Mike Blaylock, who passed away in that car accident. And he had went to Kenosha, Bradford. And there were so many people that he touched. There were so many people that he was really good with. And I remember getting to the school finally after sitting out for a little while, and just everybody, the love of him being who he was at that school, man. He touched everybody in the right way. God takes some of those really good ones early for a reason. And I still couldn't figure it out. To this day, I still don't get it. But God don't make mistakes. But the way he impacted people, man, and that little bit of time he was up there, meant a lot to me. I was welcomed with open hands. A lot of people knew him. He didn't say much, kind of like myself. But I want to thank that Kenosha, Bradford, the teachers, the people in the community, man, that embraced me and welcomed me in as my own, as their own. I want to start off talking about somebody, a family that took me in when I kind of started getting myself together. This guy I'm going to talk about, man, I'm going to talk about him as his brother and his mom. Real personal, man. This real personal, man. This is like dagger heart. The things that he had to endure, the things that he went through, for him to accept and kind of slide over a little bit to me, and I'll get to why, what, when, and where. Talk to him from time to time. We'll talk a lot, but my heart, man, there's a few people that's in my heart, and he one of them. I want to talk about Maurice Hicks, Big Mo. Big Mo was an amazing individual. He is an amazing individual. He's still alive to this day. And he one of the closest people to me, man. Big Mo, I know you're going to check it out. That love, man, that's that brother. When God takes something from you, at that time, I didn't realize that. But when God took my brother Mike from me, man, you're the one he gave to me, man. I believe that. And I really appreciate you. Let me talk about you a little bit. So getting to Kenosha, Bradford, it was Mo's school. Mo was the man. Football. Big old boy. Mo about 5'9", 5'10", maybe 5'11", about 210, 220. Big old boy. The big boy that can dance. Big boy that can run. Big boy that can do anything. Mo was the truth. Mo reminded me of Ron Dane. Big old, fast, strong, athletic. Real like nifty on his toes, man. Probably one of the best backs I ever saw. When I get done with all of this football career of mine, I want to go on here and talk about the top 5 running backs in Kenosha history. Mo, you're going to be on that list, buddy. So with that being said, man, Maurice Hicks, Mo, I want to thank you, man, so much for welcoming me in. You know, when I first got there, I heard a lot of chirping about people saying, oh, man, that's Mike's little brother. Oh, man, Mike's little brother, I heard he was better than him. Mike's little brother this, you know, and like I said, at that time, that was your school, man. And you welcomed me in. You were never jealous of me. You was never envious of me. All you did was try to help me, dog. And I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart, man. You one of the first people with a lot of others, and I'm going to give some shouts out to the rest of you boys as well that welcome me in, man. So with that being said, man, I really appreciate you, Maurice, man, from the bottom of my heart. I know I done told you this plenty of times, but I want the world to hear me tell you, man, I love you, and I really appreciate you doing that for me at that time when I needed you most. The next person I want to talk about is his brother, Dre, a.k.a. Superman. Flyest rapper out of Kenosha ever. He was just important to me as well. At that time, man, they just opened with arms. They showed me sincere love, man. Like sincere love, like real love. And like I said, at that time, they didn't know me from nothing. And that love, I needed it. I needed that love, man. So when I got to Kenosha, man, Maurice was the real deal. Dre, Superman, I appreciate you, man. You had all the shoes in the world, man. I ain't had no shoes. I ain't had no clothes. You looked out for me, Dre. And I ain't never gonna forget that. That's why we always communicate to this day. Anything I ever had, man, I always try to share it with, because you did that with me. You know, where I came from, man, I ain't have nothing. I came to Kenosha with nothing. Shoes, you gave me all types of brand new Jordans and all types of brand new shoes. Man, you're wearing one time and give them to me, man. That means so much to me, Dre. So, you know, I really appreciate you showing that love as well, man. And I want to tell you, I had a second mom. My mom is my mom. I only got one mom, but I did have somebody close to that. My sister Kim, she was like my mom too. But this lady right here, so much love in my heart, man. She hugged me, she embraced me, she loved me like her own. Shinobi, Maurice and Dre's mama. I want to say I love you, woman, man. You were so good to me. You gave me a place to stay when I had no place to stay. Them boys love me like like I was their brothers. I was over there all the time, man, and I appreciate you feeding me and giving me a place to stay. And Shinobi Hicks, man. Hey, I want to say I love you to death, and thank you so much for opening up your doors for me at that time. That family right there, man, meant so much to me when I first got to Kenosha. And I want the world to know, man, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Again, I always talk about dealing with the cards that are dealt to you in life. Those are the cards that was dealt to me when I first got to Kenosha when I was lost. So with that being said, man, Mo, my nigga, for life, Dre, hope you watching, man. Love, shout out to you. And Shinobi, man, love you to death. I really appreciate you always being in my life, calling me, texting me, just seeing how I'm doing, and that meant so much to me. Can't forget about you, Joe. Joe Jackson, man. Maurice and Joe, they was Bonnie and Clyde, man. They did everything together. Again, Joe was a stud running back, man. Maurice is the fullback. I tell you this one little thing, too. If Maurice Hicks, listen to me good, if they wouldn't have had him at fullback, bumping up against all the linemen, nowhere to run, they'd have put Maurice Hicks at tailback or running back, boy would have went for about 2,000 yards, I'll tell you right now. He played fullback. Listen to me, everybody. One of the baddest running backs ever to come out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, Maurice Hicks. Big old, strong, fast, athletic monster. Didn't get jealous of me coming, none of the above, just welcomed me, but he played fullback. Imagine nowadays we put him at the tailback. Boy would have went for 2,000, I'm telling you right now. Joe Jackson, man, much love to you, man, too, man. You was part of that friendship of welcoming me in when I first got to Kenosha. I want to shout out this football team, man. When I played my junior year, this is kind of talking about my junior year. There was a lot of people, man, that I could thank, you know, but that football team is what saved my life, man. They saved me. They welcomed me in. We was the best 7-2 team that nobody knew nothing about. We was the best 7-2 team that nobody knew nothing about, man. We went 7-2, and in Wisconsin, it was kind of weird and lame if you ask me. They only take 2 teams from each conference. If you 5-4 and you number 2 in your conference, you go to playoffs back then, which was crazy, but that's the way they ran it. We was the 3rd team in our conference. Tripper Trojans, they was undefeated, 9-0. Racine Park was 8-1, and we was 7-2. We lost to both of those teams. Back in my era, man, the Tripper Trojans, man, they was a true shout out to them boys, man. They won state so many years. They had the biggest, strongest, baddest line I ever seen. I remember some of them, man. I just, my memory, man, I'm telling you, man, I got a good memory. Rudy Ruffalo, Kevin Beth, Vasilopoulos was the running back, man. They had it all, man. Congrats to them and all of them state championships they won. That's what we had to face. I want to say they went like 3 years in a row or 3 something like that, 3 state championships, and that's what we had to get through to try to make it, and it wasn't happening. They was the real deal. They beat us like 35 to like 20 or 35 to 14, and we just had nothing for them, and they were just too good at that time. So shout out to them Triple Trojans, man. When nobody gonna do nothing with y'all, man. So that 7-2 team, man, that we had on our team, man, we was the real deal. We was good. We was loaded. Big old strong line. I had never really played with a line that good overall my junior year. 7-2, didn't make the playoffs, but let me talk about them boys I played with, man. Them boys was trill. We was loaded. To me, in my heart, one of my favorite teams I ever played on. One of the guys, man, I'm about to talk about, man, I hold him close to my heart. He right there with Maurice. Maurice, that's my dog. But this next person, man, he right there, man. We talk every other day, if not today. My quarterback, my QB. You can't never go wrong with your QB, man. QB, Timmy Ray. My dog, Timmy Ray, we talked to this day, man. Told me a true story the other day, man. It made my heart really just explode, almost put me in tears, man. I talk with him from time to time. Let me tell you a little bit about Tim Ray. Tim Ray, man, was off the charts, athletic. White boy, but was the true, fast, strong, quick, not jealous, not envy, just a bad athlete, man. Track and field star, football player, the monster, man. He would tell me little stories, man, that really meant a lot to me. He would tell me little stories about how my brother Mike would come to some of his games and say good game. And, you know, my brother being a superstar at that time, he was younger. He told me that, man. That meant a lot to me. He said, man, your brother would always come, you know, to the games and say, man, you're a hell of a player, and shake my hand. And it meant so much to him being a legend at that school. But Timmy Ray, man, he my dog, man. He was our quarterback. And he's always been my friend, Timmy. I really appreciate you being my friend, Tim Ray. When I would go to Arizona, Timmy Ray welcomed me. When I would go anywhere, Timmy Ray would welcome me. He would call me, man, and tell me stories that just made me smile. He put so much joy in my heart. Timmy Ray, you always did that for me, Joe. Just recently, he was telling me about having his first, coaching his kids. He got 2 little ones. Coaching his kids' first little league football team. And sure enough, he sent me a picture of him wearing my Gladiator Coco Blaylock jersey, man. That meant so much to me, man. Timmy Ray, I appreciate you, dog. I remember when I was playing in Las Vegas for a long time, Timmy was in Arizona. And he wouldn't tell me, but he'd just pop up to so many of my games in Las Vegas, man. And that meant so much to me, man. So shout out to you, Timmy Ray, lifetime friend, man. We're going to grow old together like we are now, but I really appreciate you. I want to talk about some of them other guys on that team, man. Joe Jackson, you was the real deal. We both played running back. And I'll tell you one thing, man, when I got to Bradford, wasn't nothing given to me. Everything was earned. You know, shout out to Coach Roders. He used to eat mud. He was crazy as hell, but he was the real deal, man. I want to shout out Scott Collins, man, linebacker, lineman never get no credit, man, but Scott Collins was an absolute beast. Him and Maurice played linebackers, and they was the real deal, man. Probably one of the best duos I've ever seen. Shout out to Scott Collins. Big Probilski, I remember you, man, pulling, can run, just didn't care who got in the way, man. I should just get lost in behind y'all and run. But y'all made me look so good, man. It wasn't me, it was y'all, so I'm giving all them props up to that big old line, man. Scott Collins, Probilski, Tim Ray, Joe, Maurice doing all the dirty work, blocking and things like that. Ryan Miller, played receiver and did a whole bunch, man. That was a super ladies man. Him, Tim, and I don't know who had more girls. Ryan Miller or Tim Ray, man. Them boys had them eyes and them girls loved them too. But y'all some cool dudes, man, with me. I really appreciate y'all welcoming me in to y'all family, man, when I was lost coming to Bradford, man. I want Reed Danielson. There's a lot of those guys on that team. Like I said, we were 7-2, the best 7-2 team that nobody knew nothing about. I mean, I'm shouting all y'all out, man. It's been a long time. I'm just going off memory. I hope I ain't saying none of y'all names wrong or nothing like that. I just really got love in my heart for y'all, man, because y'all did so much for me. So with that being said, man, I want to talk about some of the other guys, man, that I kind of grew up in Kenosha with that had impact in my life, man. In your life, man, you meet people, man. You got like brothers, and you have your ups and downs and differences and things like that, but that don't mean nothing to me. We still cool in the fan. There's some other guys that grew up in Kenosha, man, around that time, and I want to shout them out and let them know, man, I love you. I hope you're doing well, you and your family. We have some differences. It's just life. That's how I go down. But I think at this time, man, I want to bring some of y'all back and interview y'all, man, and talk about how we grew up and some of the things we did. There's a lot of stories. I want to shout out Ted Thomas. Everybody know Ted, man. Ted was so funny, man. Ted was so cool. His mama and family, they was all so cool, man. Ted, you was a real G, man. I really appreciate you being who you was, man. Shout out to Ted Thomas. Mike Boucher, man, we should have seen you playing in the NBA somewhere or an NFL, boy. That body, the speed, the whole nine. Mike was one of the ones that flew through the creeks, man. Mike Boucher was a monster at everything we did, man. Mike, you grew up real fast, man. I remember you. And again, I appreciate a lot of y'all boys welcome me in, man. And again, not having no jealousy, no envy in y'all's heart, man. We just rolled and just did everything like the way we did. We was from Keno, man. So I appreciate y'all boys doing that. I want to shout out Lawrence. Kind of like a big brother, the cousins of Sandy and Cece and Morrell and all them boys. Lawrence, you was kind of like the ringleader of all of us, man. We was a little bit younger than you, you know what I mean? But you was fly, man. You was cool as hell, man, and you was not no nonsense. But you looked out for all of us, man. I want to say I appreciate that too, from the bottom of my heart, man. A lot of love to you, Lawrence, and your mama, your cousins, your aunties, everybody. Remember all y'all, man. Morrell, I already talked about Sandy Jalal. I want to shout out Charlie B, man. Charlie B, somebody that was a little personal to me as well. Charlie B went to school with my brother Mike. And like I said, man, a lot of these guys, man, they would reach out to me and talk about my brother. And it felt so fulfilling. But I already knew who he was. But to hear from other people, man, and know that he did so much stuff for other people, he impacted others, man. My brother loved everybody. That's one thing he gave, man, was absolute love. You know what I mean? He gave them people love, man. I remember, like I said, Charlie B being cool with me, man, and let me know. He learned some things from my brother, talked about my brother getting him jobs and things like that. So Charlie B, man, I really appreciate you being a real one, man, from the heart, man. Shout out to you, Charlie B. Another one that was real from the heart, man. He was real with me, man. Cherry Campbell, man, a.k.a. Pretty Ricky. Back in the day, boy, he had them pretty eyes, had all them girls. But Cherry Campbell, man, I really appreciate you being a dog nigga like you was. My brother had a lot of love for you as well, man. I remember my brother talking about a few people, man, and your name came out of his mouth in a positive way. So I really appreciate you being who you was, man. Shout out to Cherry Campbell. Jason Witt, I ain't forgot about you, dog. Like I said, a lot of y'all, man, y'all made a difference in my life, man, coming up. I ran the streets of Kenosha with y'all. And, like I said, man, y'all was great athletes, did everything the right way. Like I said, I really appreciate y'all welcoming me in, man, when I was lost. I was lost to the world. I ain't believing nothing. And y'all slowly but sure, y'all brought me back, man. So I really appreciate y'all doing that for me, man. Again, I already talked about Sweet Pea. Sweet Pea was the fastest, quickest little thing I ever seen. Shout out to you, man. You're always doing well for yourself. That was that rival, though, that basketball. I ain't going to talk about that right now. We'll bring it on one day. But basketball and football, he was an ultimate competitor, and we competed, man. Shout out to Sweet Pea, his family, and everybody. Hope everybody's safe. D-Nice, the blackest, coolest, cleanest lady killer of all. Shout out to D-Nice, man. And Smoot, I already shouted you out, Smoot. Smoot, another good dude, man. Smoot, I grew up with him, Little League, all of those things, man. We keep in contact and things like that. But I hope everybody healthy. So I wanted to shout some of y'all out, man. A lot of y'all, paved the way. A lot of y'all, when I made it, man, I felt like we all made it. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I want to let everybody know, man, I really appreciate what y'all done for me. Being a friend. Sometimes you need a friend, you need a shoulder to lean up on, man. And y'all boys all did that for me. We ran the streets, we had a blast, we did everything. We competed, we hated, we always competed with each other with everything, but we all loved each other, man. So I want to shout out all them Keno boys, man. When I was lost, coming from a situation from Zion, man, I came over there, man, lost to the world. I went through the worst phase of my life, man. At 16 years old, man, losing my daddy, and then losing my brother 2 weeks later, and then coming to a whole nother community, a whole nother place where I was a little bit of a stranger, man. That shit meant a lot to me. Excuse my language. It meant a lot to me. And all these years later, man, I really remember that, and that's in my heart. We all older now. We got our kids. We got our families. But from my heart to yours, man, thank y'all so much for doing that for me. So what I want to do right now is I want to have y'all subscribe, man. What I'm doing with this, man, go to my YouTube page, like it, subscribe it, man. What I want to do after I get done with all this whole this bio from Little League through high school, through junior college, and then pro football, I wanted to go on the highs and the lows, but again, try to stay positive. What I'm really trying to do is celebrate the people that meant so much to me. I'm trying to celebrate y'all, man, because y'all had a lot of good impact in my life. So I don't want this to be negative, but some things might come out that way, and ain't no shot at nobody, man. It's just telling how you feel, and if you really say how you feel. You know what I mean? So like I said, what I want to do is give everybody a chance to, go subscribe to my page, go to YouTube, subscribe to it, man. And then once I get done with everything, what I want to try to do is do some Skyping where I can get some of these guys on, because, we was silly as hell, man. We cracked jokes. We had a blast. And I got some badass stories to tell y'all, man, about some of my friends. But I don't want to tell that story until they with me. You know what I mean? So go ahead and subscribe to my page. Tell your friends and your family, man. I really appreciate y'all listening to my word of my high school career. This is going to be an end of part 1 of my high school. I got one more small part to finish out my high school at Kenosha Bradford. So please go like my page or subscribe to my page, and then I'll be getting with y'all real soon with episode 2 of Kenosha Bradford. Thank you.